What's up, pedal heads? It's your main man, Eddie Monster here, and I've got another special edition of Eddie's Top 5. That's right. This week we are checking out the top 5 Rob Zombie albums. But before we get into that, I just want to remind everybody to please subscribe to the channel. Any subscription we get, we greatly appreciate here at Pedal TV. That's right. Make sure you're following us. We try to create as much content as we possibly can. All right. So with that being said, like I said, we are checking out the top 5 Rob Zombie albums according to me. Now, I'm not including White Zombie in this list because White Zombie would take the top of the list like that. Okay? So we've limited it to just Rob Zombie albums. And before we get into the top 5, it's time to discuss the honorable mentions. That's right. Venomous Rat Regeneration, whatever it's called, you can be on that list. Hellbilly Deluxe 2, you can also be on that list of honorable mentions. But now onto the top 5. And coming in at number 5, I didn't know what album to pick, to be perfectly honest. Right, I mentioned one of them on the honorable mentions. I was flip-flopping between 3 records, and I have to look because his albums are so freaking complicated to say. I mean, Venomous Rat Regeneration Vendor, you know what I mean? Or, you know, we could just Lunar Injection Kool-Aid Eclipse Conspiracy. I mean, come on now. But those, I was deciding between those and then this one, which was the Electric Warlock Acid Witch Satanic Orgy Celebration Dispenser, which comes in at number 5. It's my favorite of all of those, so to speak. Every single one of those albums features a few songs that I like, which is why they're not on this list, to be perfectly honest. This one, to me, is the more, I don't know if it's the better of those 3, but it definitely has more tracks, like The Hideous Exhibition of a Gore Whore. Well, everyone's, you know, doing it in a UFO, In the Bone Pile. Great songs. The other ones only feature like a few tracks here and there, like the Satanic Rites of Blackula from one of those, from the Kool-Aid album. So yeah, that's the reasons why those weren't on here. And this was kind of like, I just threw it on because I liked it better than Hellbilly Deluxe 2. And I definitely liked it better than the other one I mentioned there, an honorable mention. Coming in at number 4, Educated Horses. It was the first release with John 5 and was the last one until The Great Satan to feature Blasko. And I feel like this still had the feel of the first 2 records while introducing a newer element with John 5 obviously being in the group. Tracks like American Witch is one of my favorite songs to hear live. I fucking love it. Let It All Bleed Out is a great song. The Scorpion Sleeps is another one of my favorites. The Lords of Salem is up there with those tracks to hear, like hearing House of a Thousand Corpses live. Great album. Probably the best John 5 album that there is on this list, to be perfectly honest. Coming in at number 3. It's going to be a little bit of a shocker to all of you, but it's The Great Satan. I said it on my 5 minutes or less review. That's why I'm not going to really go over this track, this album that much, right? Because if you want to, go check out my 5 minutes or less review if you really want to get my feelings on this album. But again, I'll reiterate, it is the best Rob Zombie record since The Sinister Urge, in my opinion. Just saying. Right? Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, including myself. There you go. Take it or leave it. But that's number 3. I love this album. Tracks like Sir Lord Acid Wolfman, The Devil Man, FTW 84, Tarantula. Great, great tracks. Love that Riggs is back. First time since The Sinister Urge. And then obviously, just like I said, Blasko being back in the group for the first time since Educated Horses. So great, great album. The next 2 I had a hard time picking who I wanted to be number one and who I wanted to be number two, because I could easily flip-flop these two albums depending on what my mood is. But I had to be honest with myself, okay? And this was tough. This is like deciding between your two favorite kids, right? Obviously, there's always one you like better than the other, but sometimes you're afraid to admit it because the other one shows you that he or she has potential to be your favorite and whatever. But at number two, it's going to be the Sinister Urge. I loved this record the minute it came out. I remember going to see Rob Zombie on the Merry Mayhem tour, and then I saw him at the Worcester Palladium that following spring on the Sinister Urge tour, which was fan-fucking-tastic. Loved every minute of the. I became like the biggest Rob Zombie fan at that moment. I'd already had been like a big fan. I remember, Hellbilly Deluxe coming out. I remember, the White Zombie stuff, but this kind of cemented it for me. Seeing him live, previous to Merry Mayhem, I had seen him on Ozfest. I believe it was 99. It was either 98 or 99. I can't remember. But I remember seeing him on that and being like, holy shit, like, what is this? But then really getting to see him on the Merry Mayhem tour, that was it. It was cemented. Never Gonna Stop, Demon Speeding, Dead Girl Superstar with Kerry King, Feel So Numb, Scum of the Earth, House of a Thousand Corpses, and then trying to figure out what tracks Tommy Lee is on this record has always been a fun time. But yeah, Sinister Urge, number two. And then obviously coming in at number one, Hellbilly Deluxe. You know what I mean? You can't argue with it. What a debut album, first of all. For somebody that left a huge project, or I shouldn't say project, left a huge band like White Zombie to go out on your own and then make a masterpiece like this and introduce the world to Riggs, Blasko. Once again, you had John Tempesta on drums, because he was on the previous White Zombie record. Super Beast. And I loved it back in those days because he would pair it up with Call of the Beast right into Super Beast. Great stuff. Dragula, Living Dead Girl, Demonoid Phenomena, Meet the Creeper, Return of the Phantom Stranger. I mean, the whole fucking album is fantastic. So there you go. You can't go wrong with either one or two. And that's why it was so hard to decide. But overall, I mean, it's the one that started it all in his solo career. So Rob Zombie's Hellbilly Deluxe is number one. There you go. Make sure you catch him on tour this summer. That's right. The Freaks on Parade tour with Marilyn Manson. It's going to be a fun time. Orgy is there. The Hue. It's going to be the first time for me to see The Hue live. But it's going to be a fun summer. So make sure you go and check it out. And as always, remember to subscribe to the channel. I appreciate every single one of you. All right, that is going to do it for me. We'll see you next time. Stay metal.